Why are we using more resources than we need? Why do we save energy at our home, but not at our workplace? Why are our phones smart, but our buildings are not smart yet? And what can we do to slow down the climate change? These were some of the questions that were at the center of my exploration. And for the past 10 years, I have worked extensively on topic of how to make buildings smart, energy efficient, and therefore also sustainable. So today, I'm going to share with you one vision, a vision that can significantly improve our world. But first, how did I actually get passionate about this topic? I was born and raised here in Sarajevo, and there I also spent time between 1992 to 1995 during the wartime. And this period was very relevant for me because I learned what it means to live without too many resources, for example, electricity, gas, warmth, or water. So I started to respect those resources because you never know if you will have them the day after. Luckily today, we live in an abundance of resources. So we really don't feel a need to save. We just have electricity, gas, water every day at all times. But we should remember that we live on the earth that is finite, and one day, maybe very soon, we may start lacking some of these resources. So that's why we should not waste. We should, and this is very rational, we should use only really what we need. So in 2011, I have moved to the Netherlands to do my PhD in computer science. And the main topic of the PhD was smart energy systems for sustainable buildings. And there I met Tuan. This is Tuan, and he's also today here with us. Tuan comes from Vietnam, and back then he was my PhD fellow. This was in 2012. And today he's my business partner. Tuan shared the same vision, and that is, he also wanted to reduce energy that is wasted in buildings with the help of smart software. And this is a building where we worked, and we spent most of our time there. And honestly, we were not very happy to see how energy is used in this building. It was a very advanced building with a very expensive building management system, but still a lot of energy was wasted. Lights stayed on when everyone was already gone, same for heating, and also the PCs stayed on after students were out, sometimes even during the weekend. So we thought, back then we were in 2012, and a lot of technology was available, we wanted to change this. So what we did, we gathered a team, amazing team, supported by investors, and we decided, let us solve this important problem. But why is this problem actually important? Well, we spend about 90% of our time in buildings, just as we do at this moment. So it's a significant portion of our life that is inside. We spend time in different type of buildings. So for example, at homes, in residential buildings, but also at work, in office buildings, at universities, schools, banks, theaters, and so on. And all of these buildings use energy for lighting, for heating, cooling, ventilation, and so on. And what we notice is that not a lot of people really care about energy that's being used. So we can see situations like this, that during the night when nobody's around, lights are still burning. If we look a little bit at the stats, we will see that in the European Union, buildings are responsible for about 40% of total energy that is consumed. 40%. Other 60% is used in industry, for transportation, construction, and so on. And those buildings are also responsible for 36% of CO2 emissions in the European Union, and worldwide this number goes up to 40%. So a lot of CO2 in our atmosphere comes from buildings. And actually we should not forget that this energy has to be produced somewhere. And in most of the cases, it is produced in power plants that are still using fossil fuels, and they are polluting our air. And that is something that is actually what was clearly visible here in Sarajevo for many, many years. So if we look at the CO2 in our atmosphere, we will see that these levels are higher than they were ever before. So, and these levels are constantly rising. This is affecting that temperature on the Earth is increasing, and it's also affecting, so we have a lot of natural disasters around the world. And those disasters are such as floods, and those floods we also unfortunately experienced here in Balkans not that long time ago. So we are definitely the first generation to feel the impact of climate change, and perhaps the last generation that can do something about it, as Mr. Obama underlined. So we thought, let us do something about it. And firstly, we performed a research, and what we learned is that about 30% of the energy that is used in buildings is unnecessarily used, which means it can be saved. 30%. This is large percentage. In some buildings more, in some buildings less, but it's a great opportunity. So if we could capture this opportunity, we could actually leave significant positive impact to our environment, so we ensure better future for ourselves and for our children. For example, in the Netherlands, Dutch government is taking some serious measures to reduce energy consumption in their country. So what we can see, a lot of cities have made policies that they want to become energy neutral or CO2 neutral in next 10 to 15 years. That means that they want to balance the consumption with the renewable production of energy. Besides that, they have some other policies that they made. So for example, all the existing buildings, like this one, have to become energy label C by year 2023, which means that the owners of buildings have to significantly invest to improve buildings to bring it to that energy efficiency level. All the newly built buildings have to become energy label A, which means the highest level of energy efficiency, and otherwise their owners will not get loans from banks, and they need that. And last but not least, the policy is there that all the large consumers have to report to the government about the actual consumption and the measures that they took to improve their buildings. So this is one great example that a lot of governments will need to follow soon if we want to achieve the goals from the Paris Agreement. So what we did together with our team, we developed software which facilitates this process and helps all the involved stakeholders to achieve those saving goals and to make it much easier for them. So it's also fun, almost like a game, so they can track the progress on their way towards more sustainable buildings. But actually, to solve this problem, we should look at where this problem is coming from. And firstly, we see that it's coming from us, building users. And that is clearly visible from the measurements. So from the measurements, we can clearly see that energy starts to be used when people are inside of the building. And when people are outside, much less energy is used. That energy is also used by the systems in building, and those systems can be, for example, systems that provide us with sufficient light, with a comfortable temperature, clean air. And in order to solve this problem, we should firstly more efficiently control these systems, which means that they should be on only when there is need for that and where there is need for that. So not in all building at all times. And besides that, people should also get more aware so they don't work against those systems. One example would be that if we as building users leave the window open during the weekend, all the heat will be lost and the system will still try to work and to get us to the set temperature, but will not be able to do that. So we should be aware and also contribute to the savings as much as we can. Here I show you example of 2 projects where we applied the automated control in buildings. And basically these were existing buildings. For example, at the University of Groningen, we have applied smart heating control in 120 rooms. And there, this was just the initial algorithm, we managed to save 16.5% on the gas usage, which was equivalent to annually about 6,000 euros, so significant savings. Then, for the second project, we have applied a bit more advanced algorithm, so artificial intelligence algorithm control, where we actually achieved 86% of savings for this restaurant alone. And this actually result was published in Scientific Journal of Pervasive and Mobile Computing. So there we explain how we managed to get such high savings. So it's possible to save energy in automated way. But we should not forget to bring the users in the loop, because we are also very important. We can contribute to resolving this problem. So what we did, we made public dashboards that actually provide us real-time information and feedback, so we know what exactly are we using in regard to energy. That gives us also tips, what can we do to contribute to energy savings. And we installed these public dashboards firstly at the University and City of Groningen, and there we saw a great effect. People started to talk more about energy. It became a more important topic. And also organizations were able to communicate how achieving those saving targets are very important to them. So it was another communication mean towards the building users. So this is very practical, so you can see how we can start collecting data and making our buildings more smart. But I would also like to take you to a small journey and think for a second how our future buildings will look like and what will they do. So our future buildings, existing buildings, may look pretty much the same like they do now, with some physical improvements. However, from the inside, they will be digitalized. So more data will be collected from sensors, and this data will be transformed into knowledge, which can be used for smarter control within buildings. What will they be able to do? Well, these buildings will be able to communicate with us. So you can imagine as a building owner coming to a building and virtual assistant welcomes you and says, "Good morning, your building is comfortably heated to 21 degrees Celsius. Today, the outside temperature will be higher than yesterday and a lot of buildings are not used. Would you like me to optimize your heating and save 15 to 20%? And we could respond, yes, please do optimize heating for the whole building. And then receive an answer. Your heating has been optimized. Today, you will be saving about 300 euros for the whole building. So this future is very close at this moment. We can almost do this. And many more meaningful conversation with our buildings will be possible. Besides that, buildings will also serve us, building users. So they provide us with our preferred temperature, with our enough light, with other conditions that can help us sustain our health for a long period of time. Moreover, they will be using resources in an optimal way. So they will be saving energy for us, so we can also feel good about that because we are working in buildings that are not wasting energy. Even going a step further, they will be learning from how we use them, from the usage. They will learn from our conversations, so they will be able to predict and also proactively act. So they will provide us with ideal conditions that we prefer without us even knowing that or needing to intervene. Moreover, they will educate us and they will inspire us. So to make our everyday more fun and also that we can learn how we can improve at our work, at home, and in other places. We can say that our buildings will become smarter and they will become more fun and more pleasant to work and live in. And moreover, and most importantly, they will become a part of climate solution instead of being currently a part of climate problem. So they will bring our civilization to the next level. If you would like to work in this kind of building, and if you share our vision, share these ideas, so let's make our future become reality very soon. Thank you.